Hey, welcome. We're about to spend the next few minutes tackling a massive challenge in today's workplace. How do we keep our teams feeling connected and engaged, especially when everyone's spread out? Let's dive right in. So let me ask you this. Does it feel like your remote teams are kind of drifting apart? You've got all these talented people, but that spark, that shared energy you used to have, it just feels like it's fading. If that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone. And look, this isn't just a vibe or a feeling. The data actually backs this up, big time. Gallup's been on this for years, and they've shown that engaged teams are winning teams, period. But this whole shift to remote and hybrid work has thrown a wrench in the works. It's made that vital connection so much harder to create and, to hang on to.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to really unpack the modern engagement challenge. Then, we'll get into why video is pretty much the perfect answer. After that, I'm going to walk you through a super practical playbook. We'll even tackle the really tough issue of active disengagement. And we'll wrap it all up with a secret weapon you might not see coming.
Okay, let's dive right into section 1 and get super clear on the problem, because understanding the stakes, what's really on the line with a disconnected team, that's always the first step to actually fixing it. So, what are we really talking about when we say engagement? Well, it's not some fuzzy concept. It really just boils down to this powerful mix. Your people feeling involved, informed, and connected. When you nail those three things, that's when you see commitment, motivation, and productivity just naturally take off. Okay, so we've got a handle on the challenge, right? Now let's switch gears and talk about the solution. Here's why video is absolutely the key to bridging that physical distance with some real authentic communication. Just think about it for a second. Emails, Slack messages, they're efficient, sure, but they're flat. They have no tone, no emotion, no nuance. Video brings that human element right back into the conversation. It lets your leaders and your teams communicate face-to-face, which makes every message feel so much more personal and real. And for remote teams, that's not just nice, it's absolutely crucial. And here's the best part. You don't have to teach your team a new skill for this. Just check out this number. Over 126 million unique monthly YouTube viewers in the US alone. Your team is already fluent in video. They live in this medium. You're just tapping into a behavior they already have. So how do we actually do this? How does this become a real strategy? Well, it's definitely not about just making a bunch of random videos. It's about having a strategic framework, a real plan of action. This is your playbook. Your playbook has 3 core moves. First up, lay the foundation. Use video to get everybody on the same page about what engagement even means at your company. Second, you've got to empower your managers. They're your star players here, so give them the tools to lead the charge. And finally, and this is so important, you plan from the ground up. Use actual feedback and surveys to build a strategy your team genuinely cares about. And that last point, it's just so critical. It brings us right to this killer insight from the academic Kevin Kruse. He says, a strategy that comes from the top down feels like an order, but one that's built from the bottom up with employee feedback, that feels like a shared mission. It all starts with listening. And you know what's great? You don't have to reinvent the wheel here. You can pull from incredible resources by thought leaders like Daniel Pink, Marshall Goldsmith, and Bob Kelleher. A lot of their best stuff is already out there in video form, which means you get powerful, ready-made content you can share with your teams right away. Okay, now we need to talk about something really critical: active disengagement. This isn't just about someone being unmotivated. We're talking about a negative force that can actually actively harm your entire organization. Let's look at how to spot it and how to turn it around. I mean, just look at the difference here. It is night and day. On one side, you've got people who are involved, they're motivated, and they're driving better outcomes. On the other side, you've got low morale, a real hit to your profits, and this incredibly dangerous snowball effect. This isn't a small problem, it's a major business risk. And that snowball effect, you have got to understand this. Disengagement is like a virus. One person's negativity can spread so fast, and before you know it, it's poisoned the morale and the productivity of their whole team. That's exactly why tackling it head-on isn't optional for a healthy company culture. All right, we have covered some pretty serious ground. But for our final section, let's talk about the secret weapon. Let's talk about how a little bit of humor can build some seriously powerful connections. You know those moments at work, right? The ones where it feels like you're secretly living in a movie. like maybe a dark comedy like Horrible Bosses. Or maybe you're stuck in one of those mandatory fun meetings with those soul-crushing motivational posters, and it feels straight out of Office Space. Or what about that meeting that just feels like a perfect parody of every corporate cliche you've ever heard? Yeah, we've all been there. It's painfully relatable. So what was the point of all that? Well, here it is. Humor is a shortcut to connection. When you share a laugh over a funny, relatable video, it's not just a 5-minute break. It's a shared experience. It boosts morale, it breaks down walls, and it strengthens the very fabric of your team, especially when you can't all share a laugh together in the office break room. Okay, so let's boil this all down. What are the big takeaways here? Number 1, engagement isn't a nice to have, it's absolutely critical. 2, video is your most powerful personal tool for connection. 3, strategy is everything. A real playbook will always beat random videos. 4, don't ignore disengagement. You have to deal with it directly. And finally, number 5, never ever underestimate the power of a good laugh to bring your team together. So I'm going to leave you with one final question to chew on. What is the one story your company needs to tell on video right now? Whether it's a big message from the CEO, a small team win, or just something funny that happened, what's that story? Thanks so much for tuning in.